It's time.
Hey everybody, welcome back. We are going through our list of competitors for the Deep Waters Invitational. And so the nice part about it is you get the chance to reconnect with so many of the people who have done our tournaments or who are interested in doing our tournaments. And the nicest part about catching up with this next gentleman is that I think he holds the record, and this is a coveted record. For most times I butchered his name during a telecast, and yet he still didn't look to try and kick my ass after I did so. But ladies and gentlemen, why don't we go ahead and say hello to Juber Andino. How are you doing today, Juber?
Hey, what's up, Ralph? I'm doing good, man. And don't trip on the name, man. Everyone gets it wrong.
But, like, that's not a good enough excuse. You know, if everybody falls off a bridge, it doesn't make the guy who's, like, falling off 29th, like, the smart guy.
Yeah. No, trust me. I guess I just got used to it. I'm telling you, I grew up with, like, teachers going years. Like, I'm talking high school, back-to-back, years with the same teacher calling me Juber. And I didn't even bother correcting it. So it's just whatever, man.
When that does happen, though, and you get called Juber, like, one of the things I notice is it sounds close to, like, Uber. So it sounds like every so often when you say it, they're like, oh, my name's Juber. And I'm like, is it Uber?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, well, see, now everybody knows what's up with Uber because it just came up. But before, it was a little bit more, harder to explain to people how to pronounce it. But now it's just like, oh, it's like Uber, but with a J in the front, Huber,
And there was a joke between me and one of the other guys. He's a huge Michael Jackson fan. I don't know if you ever got the opportunity to see the Captain EO exhibit, but there is a character in there that's named Hooter. And so Michael Jackson would be like, dance magicking with these people and would yell out for this magic owl that he nicknamed Hooter.
Hooter, don't be silly. Hooter, hurry up! Hooter, hurry up and fix it, Hooter!
So I hope that you don't get any of those nicknames. Anyway, rest in peace, King of Pop. But Hubert, let me ask this. So you have an affinity for us. You've already competed at 2 of our tournaments, correct?
Correct.
Okay, well, first of all, amazing. And then now we find out you're going to be doing the Deep Waters Invitational, which we're very stoked that you were willing to be a part of. We're going to get to talking about that in a little bit, but I want to ask you about where does your Jiu-Jitsu journey begin? Because you're a guy who's doing it all. You're doing Muay Thai, you're doing MMA, you do a little bit of everything, but where does your Jiu-Jitsu journey begin?
Well, I started just about when I was like 17. I'm going to be 27 this August, actually August 15. So perfect, that we're doing this tournament a few days before. But yeah, I started doing Muay Thai. Then, as you do martial arts, you get introduced to something else. And I got introduced to Jiu-Jitsu. I started off training at this little gym in Upland called Hit and Submit. And, I started off with Checkmat. I started training with Lucas Leite when he just came to the U.S. Then I started training with Marcel Lozado. And, it just progressed. And as the years went by, I stuck to it. I kept fighting. And, 9 years later, I received my black belt. And, the rest is history. It's just struggle, hard work, and dedication.
So this is happening, and you have this inclination to doing all of these things. Some people just stay in doing jiu-jitsu. Why do you decide to do multiple disciplines?
I love the competition, man. I'm competitive. That's what it comes down to. And, I just don't like to do one thing. I like to be active in a lot of them. And, just pushing yourself in different limits because all these different martial arts kind of like offer you something different, a different challenge. When, Muay Thai, it's the kicks and the punches, putting all that together, the knees, the elbows. And then in Jiu-Jitsu is, working your strength, your cardio, your technique, your sneakiness, all that stuff. And, just try to be a master of it all. Because my ultimate goal is to do pro MMA, which, more or less I'm already ready. I'm just going to round out this last Muay Thai fight that I have and then go pro hopefully end of this year or early next year.
So you talk about starting, 10 years ago. Did you ever have that inclination as a kid? Were you doing martial arts as a kid? Were you doing wrestling as a kid? Were you doing other sports? Like, how do you make the jump to going from, just doing it and then taking on all of the disciplines? Was that ever, deeply embedded as a kid? Did you watch, Bruce Lee movies, or where did it come from?
What I remember, I had a neighbor, and his dad always used to, he set up a little punching bag in the back, and, they'd always just go box. And so then I started doing that a little bit, nothing much, but, just a little bit. Then when I was in my senior year in high school, one of my friends was doing Muay Thai, and you know, I kind of had hands a little bit, and he introduced me to it, and you know, I got hooked. It was exciting, you know, because in my high school I didn't wrestle, I weightlifted. That's about it. Didn't play any sports. So you know, I was missing out all these years, and so I feel like I got into it a little late, you know, because all the kids that I was training, all my current training partners, they had been doing it for like a year. And that's where it all started, man. And, you know, I'm sure anyone can attest to it. Like, you get hooked, and once you get hooked, you know, it develops into a passion, and then, you know, an addiction, I guess you can call it, you know.
I mean, you could call it several addictions for you. I don't think it's just one addiction. It's like you found several drugs at once that this somehow fulfills.
Yeah, right.
But you bring up a good point, which is you get to an addictive point where I was wondering for each of our guys who are competing is, when did you know that you were stuck? When did you know that you were truly involved in the jiu-jitsu side? Because there comes a point when you know that you're hooked.
I think it was when I started competing, you know, because as a white belt, I never did any tournaments. And then as a blue belt, you know, you start getting more competitive. And so I just started competing. And then when I got my purple belt, I started competing more. And then after that, it was like every time I competed, it was like a fight, you know, because I started fighting smoker fights when I was 18. And the jiu-jitsu competition was, you know, a little softer in the sense that you're not getting beat up, kick, punch, or none of that. But you still get, you know, you're still working your cardio, your heart rate's going up. And it's somewhat of the same experience minus the bumps and bruises, you know. And I wouldn't even know how many matches I've had if I try to count them, because, you know, I competed so much that it just got to that point, kind of like wrestling, you know. Wrestlers have hundreds of matches, and, you know, you just get to a point where, you know, like, hey, I'm pretty good at this. Let's see how better I can get.
So it's the pursuit of continuing to get better that is not just what hooked you, but now is continuing that drive even in your black belt stage.
Correct, yeah. And, you know, my thing too is I'm pretty good at doing both gi and no gi, and they're both, you know, they both present their own challenges as well. And so, you know, I just try to be the best I can in everything. You know, I have my martial arts roots, and the discipline, all the traditional kind of stuff you learn. That's kind of how I grew up in the sport. Not so much just like, hey, you know, I just want to do this for the heck of it, look cool. You know, far beyond that is really a passion and something I love to do.
I'm just intrigued because you do get schools of thought, like, say, your Gary Tonans, who say that, yeah, they'll train a little bit in gi, but they really are trying to concentrate at being the best in no gi. And just from the way you're describing it, it sounds like you're trying to be the best by doing a little bit of everything. You know, when you're saying gi, no gi, Muay Thai, you want to do MMA, you know, where exactly does that provide that challenge or that strength in doing it that way rather than just trying to pick one and hone in on those skills?
I think it's just being, you know, attempting to master everything, because it's hard. You can't, you know, if I applied all my time, my effort, my focus into one thing, like, of course I'm going to be good at it because I'm doing that all the time. But, you know, if I do the same for multiple things, that's harder. That's a bigger challenge. And that's what I look for. I look for those big challenges. And I don't know. And I think a little bit is a little bit of pride where, you know, I can say, you know, if I step into the ring with a boxer, you know, look at what McGregor's doing. And, you know, that takes balls. And, like, at least, you know, hey, I'm willing to step into your world. Are you willing to step into mine? You know, and I think that's what you're seeing a lot. And it's a big conversation. And I think a lot of the MMA community, you know, relates to that. And I think I consider myself an MMA fighter first, with everything else following that.
So you're not going to be calling out and trash talking people like McGregor a couple weeks out, are you?
Nah, I'm not going to be doing that.
Because I really need to let you know I'm not taking you guys on a 4-hour World City tour to introduce you to people. Like, you know, I went to one of those press conferences, and I have to tell you, the spectacle, the way I describe it is, it's a shit show for sure, because it's a combination of two worlds that shouldn't exist. But I'll be damned if that's not a shit show you want to be a part of and at. Yeah. Like, it's a pop culture phenomenon. So, yeah, no, if we get a portion of that interest, you better believe I'm going to be like, get me boxers, throw them in there. We're going to have them grapple with these kids the next day.
Well, you saw it in Fresno, right? We had wrestlers stepping in, right? Wasn't that pretty cool to see?
Absolutely,
and,
man.
Yeah, and I thought that was very courageous of them to say, hey, fuck it, let's do this, and that's why, I'm a Nate Diaz fan, and, but I have to give Conor his respect for, doing what he's doing because no one else has done it. And, so that's, no matter how much of a fan I am of Nate Diaz, I'll give Conor that respect.
I like that you had to, like, preface saying anything nice about Conor McGregor by being like, well, you know what, Raph, I just want to make sure it's been brought up that I'm a huge Nate Diaz fan. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but if you were to say one thing to Nate Diaz right now, as a fan, and I'm sure you like his style, what would you tell him?
Let's blaze one up, man. I actually trained with Nate Diaz. I did a seminar with him at a Royce Racy gym. And, I've gone to a couple of, literal where he's at the dispensaries and whatnot. But, so I don't know. I just smoke one up with him, I guess.
The reason I ask is just because I tend to sometimes have impressions. People are in my wheelhouse. So since you're a fan, I just wanted to see, if you don't mind rating this 1 to 10, I want to give you the opportunity to rate my impression of Nate Diaz, okay?
All right, let's see it.
So give him something to talk about.
Give you something to talk about?
Yeah, as Nate Diaz.
That third match with Conor.
Listen, that little fucking little bitch, she doesn't even want to fucking go up against me. I'm going to tell you this right now. I was fucking little midget. I beat the shit out of him twice, and now he's like running to boxing. That's how bad I beat that little fucking. I don't even care. And now I got this fucking name named Juber. Is that what his name? It's a Jew. I don't know no Jews, but like, yeah, if he wants to fucking spark it with me, we can go.
Oh, that's a 10, man.
That's a 10. Well, thank you.
That's spot on. That's so funny.
We should let you know that I've done the impression a few times, and it's gotten to the point where people thought it was really him.
Yeah.
And they're like, Raph, I didn't know you booked Diaz on your show. And I was like, well, he likes to come on our show a lot for some strange reason.
Yeah,
so
right.
There is that. Okay, enough about my stupid impressions. Hubert, so we've learned about you. We've learned about what keeps you hooked and what has brought you into the fold. Now is I want to transition. You've done our 2 tournaments, like I've explained, and we couldn't be happier that that's happened. You won our absolute over in Fresno. And one of the things that just damn impressed me about you was when we started getting toward the end, we usually try to build in rest for the competitors to get a little bit of catch their breath, especially when it gets toward the end and you don't have those breaks in between. And toward the end of our competition, you were refusing the breaks. Was that just because you were finding momentum and that you were just like, let's just do it?
Yeah, you know what? It's a little bit of that, and I do that in a lot of tournaments. Usually, I've competed in like some of these little grapplers X or Nagas where they go with you, and sometimes where you're there waiting all day, you just want to get it over with. But also, like that's how confident I am in my cardio and my conditioning. Where it's like, hey man, let's push the pace. That's my style, aggressive, grinding, and let's see whose cardio is better, mine or yours. Who can hold up longer, me or you? And that's why I put a lot into my my competitions as far as being prepared, because it really sucks when you're gassed out, you can't move, and you're just there waiting for someone to kill you. And I don't like to be put in that position.
I just thought it was odd because the timing of it was literally like you'd get the submission and then you're like, all right, let's go. And I was like, somebody tell the kid it's not an open mat. Like he gets a few minutes to rest if he wants it.
Yeah.
So, and then the hard part is, as an organizer, you want to give you the right amount of time because you don't want to take that away from you because some competitions don't give people their time. And that is something that really will bug practitioners mostly. So on the opposite side, when you're looking at us and you're going like, I want to keep going, part of us are supposed to say like, I think you should probably rest. But I just saw this determined look in your eye and I was like, you know what? Let him go. Let's see what happens here because, and it obviously worked for you. You ended up winning our absolute. What did you end up doing with your money? Because you won some cash money and you had some friends. Did you end up taking them out to dinner?
Yeah, we ended up hitting up Buffalo Wild Wings right there in Fresno. I think that was $100 right there because I told those guys, get whatever you want. And of course, here comes the margaritas, the desserts. And I was like, dang, so, but whatever, so, $100 went to that. And I don't really know, Ralph, what I did with it. It was just like I gave some gas money. So I don't know.
I
man.
was
Money
trying to
like
advise you before you did it, and I was like, you really don't have to do this. And
Yeah.
yet you looked at these guys and you're like, guys, dinner's on me. And I was like, whoa, I don't mean to tell you this or be a banker, but that money's going to go very quickly. So of course they're going to get the margaritas. Of course they're going to be like the date that orders the lobster dinner. And they're like, oh, well, he's paying, so
Yeah,
I'm
take full
fine.
advantage. Yeah, but it's all good. I like the experience, the adventure of going out there, staying out there. And that's what it's all about. I can really care less for the money. That was a good little added bonus. But, I just like the experience, sharing those memories with my teammates, because that's going to be a trip that we'll never forget for sure, especially considering we were about to leave, because we were tired. We had a 5-hour drive home, and, we ended up staying for the absolute, and look how it worked out. So
Absolutely, that was actually fun to see because you could kind of see that, and then yeah, I did see you guys stick around, and obviously your homies were good people, a good team that you guys brought on out that way. So we're happy to see that. Now my question, I want to transition over to the Deep Waters Invitational.
Yeah.
Obviously you've done well with us, you've enjoyed your experiences, but my main question is, why do the Deep Waters Invitational? Why us?
You know what? I really love what you guys are doing, man. Just the vibes that I got from all you guys, working as a team. You can see that cohesiveness and like, hey, we're trying to build something. We're trying to do something different. And you're supporting the sub only movement, which is something that like I'm a big Gary Tony fan, Gordon Ryan, Eddie Wolverine, Eddie Bravo, all that stuff they're doing is something new. And I think we're lucky enough to be in this transition period where, hey, you guys could be somewhat of a pioneers for that. And I want to be part of that. I want to support that. I want to get my teammates to come to your guys' tournaments and do it. And I had good experience. And actually, I shared this with you guys last time about I did have a title fight for Muay Thai that same day, August 12th, and I postponed that to do this tournament, not only to support, but also it was calling me. It was kind of like, hey man, you've been invited to this tournament, just be part of it. It could be history in the making. And so I wanted to be part of that because I really appreciate, what you guys are doing for the BJJ community world and for the sub-only movement, man, because I think that's going to take off, man. That's what needs to be, fast-paced, like, hey, screw it. Like, screw the points, man, because sometimes you get some of these point guys who, they'll mount you to death and you can't get out of there, and and it's and sub only, that's going to be stalling, man. Like, what? Lay on me forever if you don't submit me. So I like that. Put yourself in all these positions where it's going to be a risk. You're either going to get it or you're not. And so that's why and also the competitors you guys got on there. That's an amazing group of competitors, and I'm excited to test myself against them. I've seen a lot of those guys compete in many tournaments that I've done. And so I'm excited to get in there, mix it up with those guys, and let's see, hopefully I get to take that tournament again. But if not, it's going to be an honor just to be there and, represent my team.
Well, there's a lot you just said there, so let's see if we can break each part in this. I'm curious because, and I am asking this, full disclosure, I am one of the people who helps organize this, but I am curious about this because there is a difference. You mentioned a movement in the sub only, and we definitely are part of it. We want to contribute, but there are others who have put in work before us. You've been competing for a long time now, over 10 years of jiu-jitsu experience. When you have that, on your perspective, is there a change that's happening? Because it just seemed like there was only one way to compete for a long way, or a long time, and sub only was a little more far and few. But now you're getting a group of people who I think are starting to really show that they like this format. It brings a little bit different sides out of the competitors, and especially for Nogi, it becomes kind of a showcase. Am I making that up, or just from your perspective, has there been a shift, and when did that start to happen?
I think it has, man. And at least, I'm California based. So I think it really, a lot of the credit you have to give to Eddie Bravo, He's a revolutionary in the Jiu-Jitsu community, whether people want to admit it or not. A lot of the traditional people won't give him his credit. But definitely, I mean, you go to a lot of tournaments, what teams are you seeing? 10 Planet. 10 Planet has blown up. Almost every tournament you go, you're going to have 10 Planet guys. And I think that speaks to it. It's kind of like building a brand like Gracie Barra or, some of these bigger teams. You go to a lot of IBJJF tournaments, that's who you're seeing. And then you go to a lot of no-gi tournaments who guaranteed you're going to go into some 10 Planet guys. Yeah. And I think that's where it's going. And you also on the bigger stage with the EBI, you got Gary Tonin calling people out left and right. You got Gordon Ryan calling people left and right. Legends, legends of the BJJ world, and taking them down, and it's kind of like, that's crazy. That's amazing. Tonin just went up against one of my favorite MMA fighters, Aoki. And, I was fortunate enough to say, hey, holy crap, this is happening. And that was a sick match. And, who won it? Gary Tonin. So I think it's happening. It's unavoidable. And I think the more people start to realize, hey, let's jump in. Let's be part of this. It's going to blow up because, no-gi is a different animal compared to gi.
Interesting. I just love the fact that I know that you're so dependable. If I said I had a sub-only no time limit match, you're going to be one of those people that you're like, and when do I get to do it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because, once you train a lot, you're confident in yourself. Once you get, at least, speaking as a black belt, when you get to that point, you're confident in your skills. And, that's what all these previous belts are for, all these previous competitions for, to prepare you to go, hey, I want to be, fighting the best of the best. And, that's my mentality there. And if I ever get to that, it's going to be an honor, but I'm also going to give it my all and, try to get that win.
Well, we will work on the trash talking part where we can start having you call out people. What we'll do is you'll have me call out the people, and then I'll just pull a video game henchman thing that's like, ha 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 ha. If you want me, you have to go through Juber, and then I just run away.
Yeah, right.
It's just my way of getting you great matches. I think that's so great. I love the fact that you're competing with us. I think it's amazing that you pushed away an opportunity that you're going to come back to, at least on the Muay Thai side and the kickboxing side, which is great. But then you've also got this other opportunity after our tournament. I really want to make sure that we point this out because this was something that the guys, amongst us, we were excited to actually give. And there was some talk amongst myself and my cohorts who put this together, who are, somewhat competitive. But when we heard that there was going to be a spot at the finishers, there was talk of the guys being like, yo, I know we're organizing this, but can I enter the tournament so that I can win the finishers route? And I was like, there's nothing wrong with earning your way through. However, they did not. You ended up getting it. You ended up earning it and doing it in good fashion. And that is coming up on the 26th or the 27th. What day is that with you?
It's the 26th, yeah. So it's 2 weeks after the DEEP WATERS invitation. So yeah, I've been in touch with them. They reached out already, confirmed my participation, and I'm excited to go out there and represent. Man, I'm representing you guys, so I hope I can go out there and do my best, because there's some super tough guys over there, world-class guys over there, and I want to mix it up with them and see what it is. And also, it's for me, it's good exposure as well. That's a well-run, and well-known sub-only tournament. And, hey, if at least I put on a good performance, I'm happy with that. Plus, like I said, I'm all about the experience, going out there to New Jersey and, just seeing what I get myself into, who I meet, that's what it's all about for me. And the money's, if I win that,
the money's not bad. It's good.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a lot of pros and cons in there. The one thing I don't know that the guys thought about when they put this together, because they had the date, and then something else was announced that's going to happen on that date. And we've already kind of danced around it earlier. Yeah. But have they built in time for the mega fight that is Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather? Are you guys going to be done in time? I would get that in contract writing to be like, yo, not to say, I'm not going to be here, but can we have a screen going on in background at least when the matches are going on? So I would clarify that, because there seems to be another combat thing that's happening on August 26th.
Definitely don't want to miss out on that, but hopefully there's enough time. I know it does start at 1 p.m., so hopefully we'll see if we're able to. It is submission only, so hopefully there's a lot of submissions there and makes the tournament go by fast. But regardless, if not, I'm sure someone will stream it on their phone.
I just like the idea that that's going to be their incentive when they get you guys. They're going to be like, yo, no rush or anything, guys, but the faster you submit everybody, the more likely you'll see the fight. I think that should be what they go with. And we love the fact... Go ahead.
Winner buys the pay-per-view.
Don't offer that. Again, as your financial consultant, I cannot get behind those ideas. Obviously, the guys over at the Finishers Sub-Only tournaments, good people, good tournaments. They provide, again, a great exposure. And it really is going to be a great opportunity because the East Coast does have a really good submission movement going on as well over there. So, as much as I love my West Coast people and what we do out this way, I have to give the appropriate amount of love to because they've been doing a good job putting out that scene out there as well. So our thanks to them for having you come on, and we love the fact that you're going to be representing us. And I feel good knowing you're representing us because you're somebody who you take this, for lack of a better word, you take this shit seriously, and you're putting in the time, you're grinding, and you make us happy when you're competing. So I'm stoked to see that. All right, let's do this. We're getting to that point where I need you to go ahead and start shouting out your sponsors. So why don't you go ahead and do that, sir?
Yeah, definitely. So definitely got to give my boy Phil Passer some love. Pete Chiefs, handkerchiefs. So he's going to drop that BJJ rank handkerchiefs line soon. So keep an eye out for that. Those are going to be selling. It's pretty cool. He started that from the ground up, and he's been supporting me, ever since he started it. Even if it's, shooting me a couple bucks here and there, or hooking me up one way or the other, taking me out for brunch. That's what it is. It's all love, and so I got to give him love and show him that love back. And of course, also my Team Smash Squad. My coach Jerome Egan's. He's been training me since I was 17, 18 years old. And also my professor Marcel Lozado teaching me all the secrets, all the Smash Jiu-Jitsu. And I also, although it's not BJJ related, do have to thank my coach Jason Childers because although he's my Muay Thai coach, he instilled a lot of the traditional martial arts discipline, hard work, and dedication. So I thank them a lot, and also all my training partners who helped me and pushed me. So those are my shout outs right there.
Well, that's good. And are you doing privates and seminars? If people are interested in doing that, where can they reach you, man?
Yeah, so check me out on Instagram, Juber MMA, or contact me at my email, Juber Juice. It's funny, I know, but that's Juber Juice at Yahoo. And let's set something up. I definitely, I'm willing to teach, willing to do privates, and show you a little bit of my style. If you haven't seen it, hopefully these highlights drop soon, and you can see a little bit about what Marcel Lozado Smash Jiu-Jitsu is all about.
I need a minute. The email name has been something that I've stared at a few times. Somebody asked me if I had your email, and I was like, I do. And they're like, well, what is it? And I was like, I don't know that you really want to hear it. And they're like, well, what's the name of the email? And I was like, catch this. It's Juber Juice. Now, what's the meaning behind that?
I don't even know, man. I don't even know how to tell you. It was like, I think I got that in 8th grade, when they're like, oh, set up your email. And back then they don't tell you, hey, keep it professional. So you're all, I don't know if it was a combination of Beetlejuice and my name, and that's how it came together. But I don't know. One of my friends, Carlos, at the time, just started saying it, and it stuck. I was like, Juber Juice. All right. Juber Juice at Yahoo. And that's how it came out.
First of all, you still have an email address through Yahoo, so that's problem number one. Number two, yeah, I know you haven't probably changed it since you were a kid. The first thing I thought of was, one of the most cringeworthy songs of all time is Nelly's Pimp Juice, which I was like, why is that a thing? I don't want any part of, Pimp Juice sounds like the grossest thing I've ever heard. So then I look down here and I'm like, Hoover, do you have an email? Yeah, of course, Ref. It's hooverjuice at yahoo.com. And I'm like, why? Okay. Now, assuming all of those things, and I've already gotten it out of you that is the email.
Yeah.
You know that you can change your email, or that you could set up another email account. If I'm being so bold, that is a possibility, right?
That's true. But that's my main email, man. Well, I got a Gmail, but I just stick to it. It's not a big deal to me. It's actually on my resume anyway, so
Oh God.
doesn't stop me from getting jobs. So
Well, once you start going up higher in the ranks in the job world, they're going to be like, well, this guy could be president of our company. However, his resume does read Huber Jews. So I think maybe we'll go with the other guy. It's a good thing you do
right.
MMA, sir.
That's a deal breaker right there.
Before we go, I did want to ask a couple things. One last thing that I wanted to emphasize, just in terms of people have never seen you compete before or your type of jiu-jitsu. And so this is to our listeners or our audiences who have less familiarity with you and what you do. What would be a good match for them to see? One that you think that really exhibits your style, or one that you're proud of that is like on YouTube or somewhere online?
Well, I think definitely if you take a look at this last tournament I did in Fresno, I think, that was probably putting it all together right there. I mean, I knocked out of all my matches, they all ended in submissions, minus the first one, which I went up against Victor, which he was a very good, tough competitor, and we went all 3 overtimes, and I think I lost by like 5 seconds.
Yeah, it was close, and he's a beast too. That you guys had a great match.
Yeah. But yeah, man, you check that out. I'm hitting kimuras, I'm hitting arm bars, I'm hitting guillotines, I'm going for leg locks, and I'm passing left and right. So I think that whole tournament is a good representation of where my game is at right now. So definitely, if we can put that together, check that out.
Okay. Well, all right. Before we get you on out of here, I need you to look in the camera. I need you, with all seriousness, okay? This is like your 1980s WWF, give us your best sell. But I need you to look us directly into the camera and say what it is people can expect to see from you at the August 12th Deep Waters Invitational. So when they know that they're coming to see you, what can they expect?
High pace, aggressive, always looking for the kill, looking for the submission. You don't want to miss this. Every second I'm in there, it's going to be exciting. I'm going to be moving. I'm not going to be stalling. So come out and come take part of this.
It's pretty good. Well, Huber, I got to thank you. You're doing us proud, and we're stoked that you're a representative. And we have some other folks who are going to be repping hard for our tournament who it means so much to us that you like the tournament and that you're not just recommending it to people, but that you're continuing to come back to an invitational, which we really want to make as a big showcase. So we're going to be doing a stream. And for those of you who are in San Diego or, our Huber's teammates who got a free dinner and are looking for a way to possibly repay him other than training with him, there's going to be an invitational. It's called the Deep Waters Invitational. You can get tickets for that. That's again on August 12th. It's going to be at 5 p.m. If you do get tickets for this particular thing, we ask that on the Eventbrite, there's going to be a drop-down menu. And you're going to want to say that you're there to support Huber. Okay? His name might spell Juber, but that's the one. That's the guy that you want to support right there. So if you're looking to support him, do the drop-down. We want to give him some love for giving us some love and doing our tournament. And the very next day, we're going to have the Open, or the San Diego Open, and that is going to be the SD Midway Open over on August 13th. It's going to be open to kids, adults, all ages. We want to get you guys in. We're trying to make it low cost. So you can find out more information about that at ussgl.com/register. And we're looking forward to seeing you guys there. And who knows? I mean, knowing Huber, he might just be in the tournament the next day. It's going to be hard to tell a guy like him no. So that is something that you guys very well might see. So, Huber, I want to thank you so much for your time today. You are a delight to talk to. You're such an upbeat guy for being so deadly and so good at so many different things. But we look forward to seeing you on August 12th, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Rob, and thank all your colleagues over there, man. You guys are doing a great job. Can't say enough good things about you. And check it out, man. I recommend these tournaments. So come out and compete.
More me, less them. But thank you very much for that. We'll catch you guys later. Keep it locked here at ussgl.com. Good work out there, guys. That's the hardest I've worked yet in a competition class.
Guys, you know what would be insane? If someone made a tournament outside on the ocean. What? And what if it had like a party vibe? Like a DJ, some acai, maybe some cocktails? What?
It would have to be on the ocean by an aircraft carrier.
What? Eric, nobody would ever do that.
Of course they would.
Nobody wouldn't. Nobody would ever make that kind of a tournament.
That is a pretty crazy idea.
I don't think so, man.
Eric, you have several ideas.